Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. So you are a very, very experienced examiner and adjudicator in both live and online scenarios. So can I throw an extremely general question at you to start? What are your best tips and tricks for preparing the best possible performance for students and also for teachers to tell their students?
Well, thanks for having me, firstly. It's a great pleasure. And yes, I've done lots of examining and adjudicating over a long period of years. I think most of that has been live, both for Eisteddfods and exams, until, of course, the last couple of years where we all worked out how to do things in a completely new and different way. And so video performance, whether it's exam or whether it's Eisteddfods and competitions, has become a real thing. And I think to answer your question, tips and tricks for teachers, I think, is just consistency and for their students to look organised. That's unbelievably broad. So I don't know if you want me to sort of talk about that a little bit more. I think if in the day where we would turn up and everything was live, there was this sense of needing to have all your ducks in a row, that the teachers and students both knew the checklist of sort of what had to happen for them to turn up, and they would wear something nice and they would, prepare their announcement and all of that sort of thing. And I think what's happened with the video world is that with video submission, it actually suits some students much, much better because they are more comfortable on their own instrument. They are more comfortable in their own home. And that can be really great for some students. There's also the flip side of some kids who, can't quite send it in because they need it to be perfect. So that's a whole other thing that we could talk about. But for most people, I think it works really well. But the thing is that there's that slight lack of the same sense of organisation, I find. So I think because the teacher is not sending them off to a physical place on the day, there is less connection between how they actually need to present sometimes. So I think just that sense of still looking and appearing as organised and efficient as you would if it was a live performance. And I think something else that we appreciate from an examiner point of view is to have the recording device on a stand or on something that's going to keep it still, because, exams where it kind of goes like this and there's a bit, mum gets a bit shaky holding through the whole sonatina, are not easy to watch. And again, it's just part of the overall presentation where we know that you've actually thought about the fact that this is a performance.
Right. So are you saying that because we're lacking that sense of awe, because we're just doing it in our own homes, that sometimes there's just not quite the level of a heightened sense of occasion, and sometimes the videos might be just a little too casual? Or perhaps maybe you'd like to give some examples of what you've seen, some of the less desirable video submissions, just so that teachers watching today can get some sort of an idea of what not to do.
Yes, that's a good word. Thank you for your sense of awe and occasion. That's exactly, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Interestingly, what I have noticed over the last 2 years is that the Eisteddfod sort of competition video submissions a little bit more have a sense of occasion than the exam ones. The exam ones, I get so many no shoes, in their slippers or their socks, the cat crawling across the top of the piano, things that you don't really expect to see and that you wouldn't see if it was a live performance. So with my students, I'm just trying to make their recorded performance as much like the live performance as it possibly can be. So I would like them to face the camera and announce as if they would do that in their live performances, to make sure that what they're wearing and the background behind them and just all those sort of physical things that are very, very easy to get right. I'm surprised at how easy those things are to get wrong, I guess, sometimes. And something that I think we do see in either live or recorded submissions that I would like to see less of is the flipping through the book thing. often with students, if they're going to be referring to the score for anything, you get this sort of, they come in with their book and they sort of say, I'm going to play Andante, and then they go flip, 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 oh no, backwards and forwards, and then they put it up again. It's like, yeah, there's those little things called post-it notes, and you could just tab from one to the other and it would just be so much more efficient. So just that sense of being organized, and a sense of occasion, being dressing correctly, having some shoes, having the book organized. I'm a big fan of a run sheet. So I think certainly for the examining that I do, it's fine for the students to have a run sheet so that their announcements, they don't have to remember that. They can actually just read their point form, the order of their exam on a run sheet, or even to have someone else announce it for them. Anything that's going to bring that sort of sense of efficiency and performance to the exam.
That makes so much sense. So it's all part of the overall impression that's coming across. So students should be aware that that makes a difference, especially when you as an examiner are watching video after video after video. The ones that are going to stand out in a good way are the ones that are more organized and clearly gone to a lot of effort, as if just the same as they would as if it was live.
The same effort. And I think the other thing that's worth saying is, as examiners or adjudicators, we really want them to do well. Like, you press start on any video. I mean, it's the same whether it's live or in person. It's exactly the same, really, from an examiner's point of view. But I want them to play well. I want them to be relaxed. And when they walk into my room in a physical exam, I have the opportunity to smile and chat and try and make, try the piano, try and put them at ease. With the video submission, they have to have done that themselves. And when you press play on a video and somebody looks terribly disheveled or nervous or whatever, I sort of sit there going, wow, this is a video exam. You could have done this more than once if you wanted to. So just that sense of, we want them to present at their best and we want to enjoy their performances. So for them to be putting in just that little bit of effort before they actually press record can make all the difference from our perspective.
Yes, that really is very, very good advice. Now, can you tell the difference between somebody who has put in a lot of organization and effort and has clearly practiced a lot, but it's going wrong due to nerves, as compared to somebody who is disorganized and unprepared, and then may blame a poor result on nerves?
Yeah, sure. I think this is a big thing. In a live setting, I think you can tell straight off the bat. Well, I can certainly tell straight off the bat whether it's a nerves thing or whether it's an unpreparedness, which I suppose is what you're asking. And I think the way that shows itself for me is that a nerves thing, they might play everything a little bit more quickly than and you can sort of feel this sense of angst, the sense of rush. Or they may make mistakes and, you can just tell that they're a little bit put off by their own errors, whereas lack of preparation often shows itself much more across the board, or you will have some elements that are really beautiful, so a piece that might go really well, and then the next piece they'll be glued to the music and it'll be very stop-start. So I think that there are some clear indicators in a live setting as to how prepared they are. However, in a video exam or performance, I think the thing is that if you're having one of those days where it's just not coming together and you're not really happy with the performance, you don't send that performance. That's the whole thing with the video exam, is that you're in your own space, you're in your own time, and you're outside of this get one shot at it that we've always had with anything that's live. So the advantage of a video performance, I suppose, is that you can press stop that day and say, this is not my day, and come back and do it that afternoon or the next day or whenever, and actually play until you are happy with it. That's the advantage. I think then, I have already mentioned this, we do fall into the trap of kids who want to do it over and over and over and over. And adult students are the worst at this, I find, because they just find it so hard to actually send in something that they don't think was perfect. But at least you're getting more than one crack at it. So I have a bit of a rule with my students of 3 strikes and you're out. So give it a go. If you're happy with it, send it in. If there was something glaringly obvious that you can't live with, do it again. If you get to the third time, pick the best of 3 and send it in, because if it was live, you would have to turn up and just live with how it went for you on the day on someone else's piano. You've got an advantage of being able to do it more than once, but use that to your advantage and try not to get obsessive about it. Actually, I put a paragraph about it on the UME website, so that when students are actually reading through what to do for their video submission, it actually says it's not going to be absolutely perfect. Just give it a go a couple of times and send it in. And yeah.
Well, that is marvelous advice. Now, just on that, so for UME exams, I assume, let's say if there was a submission date or a submission period, or let's say if there was a due date, how much lead time would you suggest a student give themselves? Like you mentioned, oh, if you do it through one day and then you say, oh, today is not my day, try it another day, that assumes that the student has left themselves enough lead time, whereas often they don't. It's like, oh my gosh, it's due tomorrow, and now I've got to do as many takes as I can today. So what's your recommended lead time?
Yeah, well, that's a really interesting question, and it's also a tricky question, because there are students who work better under pressure, and there are students who like a long period of time. That's sort of a personality driven thing. I think the other thing is UME is a little different in that respect, because the whole point of the way that the system itself, the booking system and everything is set up, is that students, or teachers primarily actually, but you choose your own exam date. So you actually choose your own day and time. It's not within a period. So anytime from March to December, if you are working towards an exam, you pick your date and you go, okay, I think I'm going to be ready in about 5 weeks, and you pick your own exam date. And within a 10-day window, up until a 10-day window, you can actually change that. You can bump it up to 200 days in the future for free. Like, there's sort of a lot more flexibility than I think what we may have been used to in the past in terms of the actual booking in to an exam. I think teachers really need to use that to their advantage, rather than everybody going, oh my gosh, I've got everybody sitting in August. If you've got students who are ready sort of now, and you go, wow, okay, we got through all of that really quickly, and we've played, 9 pieces for this level, and lots of other things, you could do the exam at any time. And I think that helps enormously. To answer your question a little bit more specifically, though, we kind of work on this 10-day window. Once everything is all learned and you can play everything beautifully, you can book an exam anytime 10 days before, up to 10 days before. And then at 10 days, you are given an email with all your essential skills, which is sight reading and all of that sort of stuff, to be able to prepare those things. And then within that 10-day window, that's our polishing time. So that's get your outfit, get your shoes on, do a couple of trial videos, even if you don't really play any of those pieces. Just set your camera up, have a look at your background, put a plant on the shelf, get rid of the cat, make sure you can pedal in those shoes. All of that sort of stuff happens within that 10-day window, so that on the day that they actually choose to video their exam, they're all set and sorted, and it's like it's already been pre-rehearsed.
That is fantastic. And what a fantastic thing to have the flexibility of being able to choose your own exam date. I think there'll be a lot of teachers hear about
and
that.
Move your own exam date. So even in a live setting as well, if you've booked in and then you break an arm or something or other, it's literally click, move it up to 200 days in the future. So everybody's been very much appreciating that little aspect.
That is absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much for these little pearls of wisdom, and we'll put some more information about UME exams in the follow-up email.
Terrific. Thanks for the chat.
Thanks, Michelle.